Movie
Oh,
Monday, our Knives Out movie Monday. You
here we
ready to get to
go.
that? Because there's an accent in this movie that is incredible. But I think it's time that we get into it. And let me tell you this: if you're still here, you've seen the movie, or you're just reckless and you just want to know what the spoilers are, because we're
I
going to
know. This
spoil the
is for the
movie.
people who've come. They're like, I watched it. I loved it. It was trending. So I know people are watching. I know.
I do too. And if you haven't seen it, pause right now, go watch the movie. Or if you stick around, seriously, we are going to spoil this movie for you, okay? But if you do need to pause and go watch it, we'll wait. We'll be patient like Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig's character. Man, this
Yeah.
guy, I'm telling you, I love this guy. He's in
Do
all
you
the
love
Knives Out
this?
movies.
Yes. I love all of them. Third one of the series. It kind of reminds me of the Agatha Christie and the mystery movies that have come out, all of those Agatha Christie novels, and you're getting the same detective in every movie, or like the Sherlock Holmes, the original novel series. So you've got like one detective and you're following all these amazing adventures and mysteries that they're having to solve. That's Benoit Blanc.
And it's heavily inspired by Agatha Christie. I mean, there's Easter eggs to her in this movie where you can see the books of hers in the background. So great observation by Coco. Let's just say that off the top there, because you
Didn't even
recognize
realize.
it. And yeah, it is very much based off of it. Just like her novels didn't even have the subtitles, or the, what is it, the second part of the thing, like Knives Out. You don't see Knives Out, it's Wake Up Dead Man. They dropped the title for it,
Mm-hmm.
really, and put the name of
Yeah.
the book instead. I'm probably goofing all that up, how you say it, but somebody will correct me. But they did.
Yeah.
She left out the I think whatever the name of her books were, the series. Same with the Knives Out. But
Yeah. So they
yeah,
look like they're original or standalone, right?
yeah. This
Which
movie
you
though,
absolutely could. You don't have to have watched the other Knives Out movies to start with this one and know what's going on, or to be like, oh, this Benoit Blanc guy knows what he's talking about, and everybody seems to really trust him and like him. You don't have to know why. You just get into the mystery of this movie.
the Who Done It, the Who Done It.
Hmm.
It's I like the old movie Clue. That's one of my
Yeah.
the first Who Done It's. It's based off the Clue board game, but this is kind of the same type of thing. But this movie for me, right off the top, even compared to the other two, dark. We're talking about dark, a lot colder than the other two movies.
Hmm.
It's like it just the franchise grew teeth, I think, in this movie.
This one.
And
Yeah. It's a lot of moral tumultuous kind of what's right, what's wrong, and who's to say, and is there a heaven, is there a hell, and judgment day, and with the religious undertones of the whole thing happening, in a Catholic church and everything like that, and to a priest, and the priest being the one who's accused of the murder. You just get all of that really juicy spiritual morality debate going on with this whole movie. I think that's at the
and
core of it.
it is laced with great monologues. Even Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig himself, like, you just watch him maneuver through this movie. He's not chasing clues. He's like watching people justify their actions. Like, he's the observer
Yeah.
of what's going on, but he's also very dominant in what he's doing. And it's not necessarily to him. This is me watching him. It's not, can I solve this? It's, how long will they keep lying?
Yeah.
How long? How
Yeah.
long are they gonna keep you charade up? I know what deep down what happened, but how much further are they gonna dig themselves? Like, that's kind of what his character is to me. But he doesn't come off as this like super confident. It's just there. It's just
Yeah.
there. So it's
It's kind of
yeah.
like if
It
you
was
give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves. That's the phrase that keeps coming to mind when I think of Benoit Blanc in this movie. Is he's yeah, you're right. It's not that he's chasing clues. And there's a couple of moments where he's like, oh, you take a look in this picture, you'll see that the lamp there's a second lamp, and that one also had the devil on the top missing. And there's some little things here and there that he points out. But for the most part, he's kind of observing people more than anything. And I think you get that most in the scene where after the priest, Judd, he writes up his account of the whole thing. That's kind of the basis of the whole movie, is you get all caught up because he's writing this out for him, and everything that he experienced, everything like a story. And so he comes back from reading it. There's just this moment where he goes, "Why'd you do it?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, what? Oh, is he the killer?" That means like he's figured out that he actually did do it. He actually did do the murder, but he's not talking about the murder. He's talking about the cover up of, the drinking. The priest Wicks, who was Monsignor Wicks, was doing off to the side. He was drinking again, and he was actually trying to cover up for him. So when he's asking like, "Why did you do it?" He's like, "I just couldn't." You have to give your enemies the most grace of every. I think that was the theme of the movie, pretty much.
And Wicks, played by Josh Brolin, one of my favorites.
Right?
I'm talking. And you know what? It was fun to see this character of him, because I just saw him be a huge villain in the Running Man, the new Running Man that came out in 2025. He's in that as well. And I don't think Josh Brolin will ever peak. Everything he's in is like better than the last thing he was in. And we've been watching him since the Goonies and stuff, been around. But he takes this Monsignor Wicks, he takes it to the next level. And I'm just going to say, like, if Josh Brolin, if he ever gets out of acting and he wants to start a cult, I think he could do it. I think he's the guy for it. If he needs a cult out there, I might join that bad boy. Me and him could be running the Brolin Just Blaine cult. And no, never mind. We'll scratch that idea. But Josh Brolin could him with doing the preacher and giving the sermon and all. Oh my God, it had me hyped up. I was ready to go to church.
Yeah. It was like the battle of the Joshes, right? We've got Josh O'Connor playing the priest, the young priest coming in, who has these new progressive ideas of, like, we cannot let this kind of poisoning of the church draw people away. It's not going to bring people to Christ. It's going to bring people away from Christ. And so he's got these progressive ideas, whereas Josh Brolin's character, Monsignor Wicks, is old school and also like drawing a hard line. Like, it's us against the world. These people, think it's okay to be harlot whores and drunkards and, and homos and all these, all these awful things that the church is against. And he's like, I'm going to stand up on this pulpit and I'm going to make a hard line. There was this, such great lines in this movie, by the way. I had to sit down and just write down quote after quote after quote. But one of my favorites was when the priest Judd says, staying in the pew during his sermons was drawing a line, right? And a side is taken is the quote. Like, when you stay in that pew, a side was taken. So the Monsignor is just like preaching from his pulpit, hellfire and brimstone. And there were people that he was pushing people to walk out. If somebody walked out, that meant the rest of the people that stayed, they were drawing a line. And that really, really spoke to me. And I will say, because locally here, we have a certain church that's dominant and the culture behind that being, there was a moment in my life where staying in church when certain things were said was, if I stay in this pew, I am drawing the line in that I agree with these things being said. And there had to be a moment for me where I was like, that's it. I have to walk out. I have to be done. And so that moment in the movie really spoke to me. And we just had a prominent apostle of that church that passed away recently. And so a lot of the people around in our culture are like, he was such a great man and he spoke so eloquently and his words really spoke to me and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but actually that apostle was saying things like musket fire against people who live same-sex attraction lifestyle, whatever. You know, he was like musket fire. He said things that were very drawing the line, a hard line. So I just wanted to point out that little moment in the movie because it was very applicable to some things happening in our local
Yeah.
culture where we live, right?
Lots of similarities, lots of parallels for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of religion talk in this movie. I mean, it's based in a church, and a lot of that is they reached out to Catholics and said, "Hey, what do we need to put in here?" You know, they did work with different priests and sort of thing, you know, those sort of things to get this accurate, make it feel good, make it feel right in that sense. But the movie itself is just uncomfortable. Like they didn't want you to feel comfortable watching this movie. Everything in it is uncomfortable. Even all the way back to not just the violence or the lying or this or that, but the conversations themselves are when we see Wicks have the masturbation conversation. It goes on longer than it should. It's to make you feel uncomfortable. You know, like it really is.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes. Oh my gosh.
That to me was a wild scene. There's so many people in this movie that were incredible. And
yeah, the performances were amazing.
Why all the one-liners are so good. You know, you had I don't know how many Oscar nominees, but Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin. I think all of them got an Oscar nomination or a win. Jeremy Renner played Dr. Nat. This was his first movie back after the incident. And I don't know if I know lots of people probably remember what happened to him, but it was when he was making the Marvel movies and he had the snowmobile I think it was a snow plow accident. Damn near died. And fought back. And this was his first movie back. And I know that I've seen interviews with him where he talks about he felt he was happy, not just to be alive, but to be around these people. And it felt like a family behind the scenes, even though on set, on camera, they're all fighting each other. Kerry Washington, that's an Oscar nominee, I believe. She killed it.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many good one-liners and monologues in this, is because you had literally a cast of nothing but Oscar nominees or potential nominees. Jeffrey Wright, I love what he does. I've been watching him since Westworld, and he plays Langstrom, and he's cracking me up. There's something he said near the end of the movie. I can't remember what it was verbatim, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this is great. This is great.
Yeah. And I bet it did represent a lot of uncomfortableness going on in churches or religion in general, is like, where do we draw the line of like, is it the church holding fast to certain values we've always thought were right or wrong? Or is it bringing people to Christ, which is kind of the like push and pull. So yeah, you're right. Jeffrey Wright playing that, I don't know what the titles are because I'm not Catholic. I don't know their like lead priest guy, the lead priest guy who's talking to the younger priest guy. And, you know, he's saying, you know, yeah, we need a little bit more of what you have to say. So we're sending you to this guy who's a little bit radicalized, a little bit outrageous, and he's losing his flock. Like people are not going to church. So yeah.
Well, I think Jeffrey Wright, I think he played a BP with Bishop maybe. So I think that's what it was in the Catholic world. I have stepped into a Catholic church a time or two and had the holy water burn me. But
yeah, you're like, get out.
Yeah, I believe a BP is a bishop.
Okay.
And
I mean, the Catholic churches are glorious, aren't they? I just have to point that out too, as far as the set goes. Having come from the LDS church growing up, it's just such a shame that we build such ugly churches versus the Catholic Church, who have these beautiful cathedrals and just awesome spaces. Every time there's a movie like this, showing the Catholic Church and showing the priests, even in this movie with all the chaotic murder mystery going on in the plot, I always have that feeling of like, I would love to be a priest. I would love to just study spiritual things all day
Yeah.
long and live in a beautiful place like this and help people and meet with people and just, that just seems like such an amazing life to me. But that's,
The Catholic churches are beautiful. I remember I was in New York City for Christmas one year, Christmas Eve, and I remember going to a Christmas Eve mass right there at the main Catholic church in New York, and I was blown away. I was just walking by, and I was like, you know what? We got to go in here. We should check this out, and we did. It was incredible. I think it was standing room only. There were thousands of people there, but the place was beautiful, and you just felt like this atmosphere around was spiritual. You know, whether you believe in it or not, if you're Catholic or not, or whatever you believe in, there's something there. There was something around that. There was a bubble right there in that spot. I think this whole movie has that kind of feel to it, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd feel that vibe if Monsignor Wicks was the actual priest in charge, because his vibe does not feel peaceful to me. But the general tone of a place like a church feels very peaceful and spiritual, and, just a place to connect with whatever your higher power is. I think that's beautiful. But speaking of that, I love the characters, because you mentioned all these actors in it. And I pointed out, each actor playing these archetypal characters. And as I'm watching it, I kind of like sat and figured out that each one plays a different archetype of someone who, for a reason that they come to faith, right? Like you have Simone, who's playing a character. Sorry, the actress is Kaylee.
Oh, Spaney, yeah.
Spaney. Okay, good. Yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to say it right, but Simone is the character, and she's coming to a church where she feels that they can heal her physically. She has this devotion or this reason for coming. Unfortunately, it's pointed out later it's transactional, so she's paying money into it as well. But she's here to hopefully heal her body, to get out of the wheelchair, to be able to play the cello again, to be out of pain. Then you have like those that are coming for connection, wanting to get connected to others in the community, this little community. One, Kerry Washington's character is there for legacy. Her father was a part of it, and she wants to show up and make her dad proud. And she's like, I'm here to be a part of it so that I leave the same legacy as my father. And then you have her son, Sai, her adopted son, Sai, who becomes a really important character. He's there for reputation. He wants to get into politics. So he's hoping that, by being part of this whole church thing, he'll look really good to the voters. Yeah. Then you have those that are like hoping to guide their values. They want to have some guidance on what is their morality, what is their guidance. And so you kind of see that play out in each of the characters. So I had to point that out. It's so cool to see that. What brings you to church?
The church aspect, you were talking about the beauty of it too. Even the tomb itself, I was like, that's pretty cool. When Wicks broke out or Fake broke out or whatever it was, and that was another part of this movie was. Yeah, another part of this big movie was that the murder wasn't clever. Like it wasn't as clever as maybe the first two movies. It wasn't really necessarily about that. It was more about, to me, the actors that we mentioned, that you just talked about. And to me, I love how you broke down what they did and who they were, because the overall of that was every one of them in there thought they were the smartest one in the room. Mm-hmm. And they weren't.
Or there for like a good reason, right? Like morally good. They're all like, I'm a good person, so I'm here for this.
Yeah. This movie to me it's fun. It's a fun movie to watch, and you may have to watch it more than once. Did you watch it more than once?
Yeah, I did. I went back and watched it twice. I had to go back and, well, first of all, I loved going back and just seeing it from the beginning again, and all of the details that went into the murder, where everybody was, at what time. Especially Glenn Close's character, because she ends up playing a very important part in the murder. But you kind of like have to break it all down and see it all again, I think, to kind of figure it out. And that's when I think the second time I watched it, that it all kind of came together like this big web, not just the murder itself, which I get. That's why we watch a murder mystery. We want to find out like the whodunit. That's really fun and everything. But the real, theological, moral subject of the whole movie. And I'm going to tell you what I think. What I think that it all came down to, what held it all together. And Glenn Close's character kind of pulls it all together at the end when she's making her confession, is the harlot whore.
Yeah.
Grace is the name of Wicks, Monsignor Wicks's mother, and they refer to her as the harlot whore the entire time. And you hear Kerry Washington's character at one point saying, "That poor girl." And right as Glenn Close's character is dying, she's calling her the harlot whore. And then the priest Judd looks into her eyes and says, "Grace." That's her name.
Yeah.
Grace. And he's not just saying her name, he's saying, give her grace.
Yes.
Give her the grace, the mercy that I have given you, that you've seen others give you. Because again, he himself went through this whole backstory of being a boxer that killed somebody and comes to Christ because he's like, I don't come to Christ because I'm a perfect person. I come to Christ because I know I'm accepted and I'm loved, even though I did this awful thing. I committed a murder, right?
Yeah.
Grace. It's about
That's
grace.
an incredible scene too when he has that conversation. Glenn Close there dying. No, that scene, the final scene of the movie, I guess. That's what tension, what and feeling and everything, emotion. It's all there.
Yeah.
All the way till when Eve's apple falls out.
Yeah.
And it's on the ground. And you see that jewel that we've already been told what it is, and it's this fortune. And
yes,
the final shot of the cross, the whole time I'm thinking, please be in there, please be in there, please be in there. And then you see that jewel twinkle, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Because it wasn't about the money.
No, it wasn't. And that's what it was. It was a fun ride. This movie's a ride.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sit there and be on your phone. You can't do this. It's one of those. You can't have distractions. If you do, you're going to end up having to watch it multiple times to be like, wait, what? What did that? What just happened?
Go back, watch it again. You missed something. I'm just going to tell you right now. And I've actually, you just brought this up. And this is perfect to just mention. I've heard interviews with actors in Hollywood and shows and movies, and they're kind of like hinting at this new way of making movies. And I can't remember what they call it. There's a certain word for it, but they're basically writing screenplays and making movies, kind of dumbing things down, kind of over-explaining obvious things in the script so that the actors actually have to say the thing. And, people who are paying attention, people who are wondering, they're watching movies and they're saying, why did they just explain that? That was obvious. Why did they didn't have to say it. They could have just shown it. And it's kind of sad to see this happening, but it's basically catering to audiences who scroll on their phones while they're watching movies, who are distracted, busy.
I have noticed this even in your weekly TV shows, even the good ones. I'm not going to name any, but I've noticed it. And I want people out there to start looking and listening for this. But you'll see this happen. And it's almost like you get that little, 30-second recap at the beginning of the episode, but then you get these verbal recaps along the way. They literally will tell you, and they work it in. It'll be like one character asks the other one, "Now, why are we doing this again?"
Yes.
And then they answer it. And I have seen this.
Yeah. And you're like, as an audience, it feels kind of like dumbed down. Unless of course you are scrolling on your phone and you need it. So I'm making a little plea to our audience right now. Like, guys, can we all agree we want art to stay elevated? We want art to be what it is. These directors and writers, they work really hard to put together something that we can infer meaning out of and not be, basically spoon-fed all of the things you're supposed to think and things you're supposed to feel during a show or a movie. You're supposed to get it naturally. You're supposed to get it and infer it. So, I'm just going to ask our audience, if you're listening, please don't sit and scroll on your phones for entertainment while you're being entertained by a movie or a show. Put the phone down.
Yeah, especially one like Knives Out, because it's going to punish you. If you're scrolling on your phone, this movie's going to punish you because it doesn't think that way. Like, when they put this together, they really did, which is cool, think that the audience had a higher IQ than maybe we do. And I like that, because most of the people who will say, I don't like this movie, guess what? They didn't get it. They didn't pay attention. They scrolled their phones.
That's it.
We're punished. You know, so
it's like the emperor with no clothes. It's like, if you didn't get it, you weren't paying attention. You weren't seeing what was there. And you know what? I'm going to give you an example of one of the scenes that this would be true. The scene with Louise on the phone.
Oh.
Remember when he's trying to call and find out when the equipment had been rented for the tomb to be opened? Because when that order was made is a really crucial clue into who done it, right? So they need to know who ordered the equipment for the crypt to be opened. And he calls Louise on the phone at the equipment rental place. And it's this hilarious scene where she's trying so hard to talk to him. And she's kind of blabbing, and he's like, yeah, okay, but Louise, I need to know this. But no, hold on. This is really important. And it kind of drives you crazy. Like, there's a moment where you're just like, oh my gosh, shut up. But that scene was so cool to me to watch, because you get that moment where finally he's like, okay, good. Okay, but I need you to get that information and call me right back. And he's kind of so focused on what he needs out of this. And then she says, Father, will you pray for me?
Yeah.
And it all kind of like, there's this sinking feeling, and it's all context clues. Okay. For those of you who are not actors, you don't know, this is all context clues in his face. When his face drops and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot this was the point. I forgot this is what I'm here for. This is my job. And he says, of course, I'll pray for you. Can I ask why? And she starts talking about her mother is dying, and this like really human connection moment. If you were on your phone during that scene, you missed it. You missed the whole point.
You hit it too. Human. He becomes a human right there. And we even see a time lapse, because it goes from light to dark. Like, we don't know. This was hours worth, it looked like, that he was on the phone with Louise. And being a priest, he was making sure she wasn't alone, because that's what she said. I feel alone. He stayed on the phone.
And he stayed on the phone.
We see when they come back in the room.
Really urgent matters going on right here. He's going to be accused of murder. He is a hot mess, right? He's going through so much of his own. But then in that moment, you see him remember. And I don't know, it's so human that it almost made me go, oh yeah, I forgot that's the point. I forgot that that's what we're here for.
There's a great lesson in what happened there with him being human. And when she says I'm alone, and he's got all this other chaos going on, it's one of those moments where you got a lot of crazy shit going on, but somebody's got it worse. Somebody's going through something harder than you are right now. And if you happen to be that person who is there for them, guess what? Whatever you needed will come back around, because Louise calls him back and gives him the info he needs.
Yep.
Without fault, So
yep. I love that scene too, because she's like, I hope that helped. Yeah. And he's like,
but it's a give. It shows you though that energy is a give type of thing. You give and you get it back. They both gave, and I think that's a human, big time human element, and really comes across the screen well. If you were scrolling on your phone, shame on you during that scene. Play it back. You got to watch that scene for sure. Wake Up Dead Man growing up. It grew up really in this. It just makes you have patience for this movie too, and I really did. I think it. The longer you ride with this and watch it, it becomes fun. Like you get sucked into this movie, So
absolutely, I think it's got all the elements that a great movie has. Yeah. were like, we had fun. I mean, the murder mystery part is always fun to watch. It had moments that made me absolutely laugh out loud. I was just like
Yeah.
doubling over laughing. And you have beautiful moments, just absolute wonderful moments. You have great quotes. So yeah, this one just became high on my list for sure. What maybe
What's your
if you were to
final?
pick one moment
Yeah.
that was like, this is my takeaway moment, what would you get?
Oh, patience. It's got to be about the patience.
Yeah.
Like
Sit
just be
back
patient.
and
Sit back,
observe
observe
quietly.
observe
Yeah.
when you can. If you're Benoit Blanc, Danielle Craig, and you know you're the smartest person in the room and you know everything, you don't have to show anybody. You can be
That's right.
the observer and watch the other people
I know
dig
you're
their
looking at
holes
me when you
deeper.
say that.
No,
You're saying, Courtney, you can shut your mouth once in a while and people will still think you're smart.
no, not at all. Not at all. Ryan Johnson, the director, crushed it. You know, I think that was
Yeah.
incredible too. We didn't even mention. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe an Oscar nomination. I don't know. There might be some Oscar nominations from this movie. Daniel Craig, maybe. Ryan
Loved.
Johnson for the director, maybe. Yeah. But, you know, the Academy really doesn't like movies like this. They don't like the formula
Yeah.
of Knives
Yeah,
Out.
that's too
So,
bad that they won't get the recognition they deserve, because I think Glenn Close in that last scene, the dying scene, was if anything was worth an Oscar, I think that was a great moment for her.
absolutely. Daniel Craig, if he doesn't get it for this Knives Out, the continuation of Benoit Blanc and the next movie and the next movie and the next one, when they start coming out and he's still playing this character and he's still elevating it, it's not going to be a question if, it's going to be when they're going to nominate him for the Oscar, because they're going to have to. They're going to have to. He's too good at this role. And he made us forget, like, Daniel Craig as James Bond. We're not even thinking that anymore.
Completely different characters. Completely different.
And that's hard to do, because once you play a James Bond, like, you're almost, that's you for life. So the fact that he's taking his career to another level and plays another character who is going to get an Oscar nomination, maybe not this year, but at some point, that's incredible to me. That's a real actor. You know, that's
Yeah. Did we love the part where he plays the organ and interrupts the confession part, and he's like, I'm sorry to be so dramatic, but
I laughed so hard. I love that part. I laughed so hard at that incredible moment in the movie. But yeah, what are you thinking? What's your final thoughts on this?
Yeah. Final thoughts. Josh O'Connor playing the young priest. When talking about scenes that showed his acting ability, I loved when he was getting really heated, and the moment he says, my job is not to fight the wicked and bring them to justice, but to bring them to Christ. That was chef's kiss, probably one of my favorite, like, pull it together moments. Also as well as the others.
Love this movie. Yeah, loved it. Can't wait for the next one, whenever that is. I'm sure we'll break that thing down too. Yeah, I thought this was top notch. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad we sat down and broke it down and got to go through this a little bit. And I'm sure there'll be other things that pop in our heads. We'll talk about them some other time, you know. So until next time, though, just Blane, Coco, Parallel Frequencies. We'll see you on the other side.